So, Ruchi, the first question that we have is kind of something that a lot of students must be very confused about. And the
Right.
question says, can we study in the US without GRE, or is it compulsory?
Last year, we had this thing because of COVID. GRE was waived off in a lot of universities, and the universities didn't request GRE from the students. But this year, in fall 2022, we have received notifications for spring 22 and fall 22 that GRE has been waived off in some universities for certain courses, not all
Okay.
courses. Any student who wants to apply for a GRE waived university, they will need to check whether that particular course has been waived, exempted from GRE or not, or if it is optional. I would suggest if it is optional, they should still appear for GRE and send their scores to the universities.
That even if a university is not looking for a GRE score, it's always better to send out a score if you have already taken GRE.
No. So if it is a waiver, it is better not to send because they would not accept it and they would not even take into consideration. But if it is
Okay.
optional, then it is always better to send that way.
The second question says, is IELTS Band 7 a good score to apply to US universities?
So yes, absolutely. 7 onwards is you're generally safe in the sense that higher the better, without doubt. But yeah, 7 onwards you'll be fine. For Canada, you're looking at 6.5 and above. US 7 and above, you're good. Of course, there'll be some of the top tiers, and depends on certain programs too, where you're the Harvards, etc. Right? So they may have a minimum of 7.5 in some
All right,
cases.
all right.
But yeah, 7 onwards,
Yeah,
you're
but I
generally
think
good.
if you type again, it all comes down to the entire basis of planning that we were talking about earlier. If you have a plan in advance, if you have something set, and if you are actually working towards it every day, I think achieving a 8 or a 9, which is the highest, is not that far fetched, right?
Absolutely. For most Indian students that come out of our programs, right, our schooling programs, and if you've got obviously English as the medium of education, you're already in a good position when you're taking these tests, right, whether it's a TOEFL or the IELTS. So you can definitely aim for your 8 and 8.5 scores as well. There is no doubt that
Correct,
Indian
correct.
students have that opportunity. It's about your prep.
The next question, interestingly, asks US versus UK, which one is better for studying abroad?
I would say both the countries are good in their own manner. If any student wants to do only a 1 year master or has financial crunch that way, I would say
Okay.
UK is better to go for. If they are okay with 1 year master, if they are okay, they don't want to spend that much money out there, okay, and they want to spend limited amount of money. Plus, UK also has some universities over there, so it is like UK is good, okay. US, I feel, is more better for STEM designated courses that way. Okay, I will not say that non-STEM designated courses are not great. Obviously, they are also great, but STEM designated courses have a better options of staying back in USA.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is if you are not from a STEM based program, you will not be allowed to be in the country for more than a year. But
And
after you have completed your graduation, basically, okay. And if you are in a STEM based program, then you can stay back for 3 years. That is your
oh,
optional training. That is the OPT that we talk about. Okay.
oh, that's
That
great.
way, for non-STEM based programs, it is a loss for them that they cannot stay back and then they have to go back to their own country that way. Okay. Whereas UK, be it a STEM based program or a non-STEM based program, the stay back option, which has started from last year only, it's been 2 years. It's 2 years now. So they can look for jobs, they can work over there for 2 years, and they can see how to enhance their work permit over there. Whereas in
Oh,
USA, you can apply for your H1B while you're in your OPT, okay,
okay.
and see that where does it leads to, and then that's how you can go around. But job prospect wise, both the countries are good. They have better job opportunities around. UK also has some good technical companies, tech companies over there. US definitely has a lot of tech companies out there. So job
That's
prospect wise, both the countries are good in that manner.
Ruchi, the next question that we have says, what's the maximum scholarship that I can get as a student for masters in the US?
Right. So up to 20,000 USD you can look for is possible. Okay. But some universities can also provide up to 50% of tuition fees. It
Okay.
really depends on the amount of funding that the university has, plus depends on the type, the profile of the student. If the profile
Okay.
of the student is really good, then the university will not have problem in funding them. Okay.
Okay.
And like I said, that how much funding does a university holds and how much funding is decided for each category is also very important to look at. So if they're looking for PhD, PhD has the maximum funding, whereas
Okay.
master has lesser funding, and then undergrad has even lesser funding. So it will
Okay.
go in that manner. And if they are looking to apply for funding and everything, it is always good to apply early to the university so that the chances of getting scholarship would be even better.
All right, all right. So is this a dynamic kind of a thing wherein the amount of scholarship money changes from year to year, or is it like the fixed all? Is it fixed all the time?
It's a dynamic kind of a thing. It depends on the
Okay.
university. Right? So, like I said, the amount of funding that the university has with them will depend on how much would they like to fund to give their students as scholarships. So
All
it will depend. Like I said, some universities may give it up to 20,000 USD, but some may
right.
also give them the 50% of their whole tuition fees. So that's a
Right.
very so will depend on the university as well as on the profile of the student that which
Mhm.
university will give how much scholarship and how much money that they have that they want to give it away to the students. Some universities, like say some private institution, may not even give that much scholarship out there. So it really depends.
A good question that I encountered right now. The
Sure.
question says, is GRE accepted for MBA or MIM abroad? Because the general notion says that GMAT is the way to move forward. So what is the case with GRE, sir?
So yes, absolutely. The GMAT is generally the norm for both, but there are universities that do look at GRE, and it also depends on the kind of course. So there's some of these MBA or even MIM courses, right? They could be they're a little more from the business rather than more into the tech side as well. So there's a heavier weight towards the tech side in these. So the kind of courses you have in there would be weighed a little bit more. So if you are looking at those kind of programs, GRE would be definitely an option. But this varies again from university to university. So we'll have to look at the specific university criteria and need. But in general, GRE, I mean, it's always going to be the GMAT over the GRE largely for MBA. When you look at the UK, though, the UK there are plenty of good business programs that don't necessarily need the GMAT either, right? So they don't need the GMAT, nor do they need the GRE. So in those cases, you won't even have either. But yeah, when we're talking about the US predominantly, which is the largest pool in terms of where Indian students are going, yeah, we're more GMAT than GRE
Okay,
for
sir.
these programs.
Again, we have a question. The question says, I'm planning for MS in cybersecurity. I have 3 years of work experience. Which country would suit me?
Okay, so as you have 3 years of experience in cybersecurity, and yeah, so you can look for USA, you can look for Canada, but then again that depends upon your academic because Canada is a very academic country, okay, academic centric country, I would say, okay. So yeah, you can look into that. So if you have great academics in your and you have a similar bachelor's degree, like if you hail from computer science background and if you're wanting to pursue cybersecurity in Canada, then that can be done. And yeah, USA definitely one of the best countries to pursue masters in cybersecurity with the experience and all.
The next question says, it is a actually very interesting question. It says that can we just apply to universities via Yokit? So I think people are curious about what exactly Yokit does and whether or not we will be able to facilitate their admission to universities via the platform that you have.
Absolutely. We have, so Yokit has a good pool of partner universities, right? And obviously, we help students apply to those partner universities. You can also, through that, we help you with application fee waivers. In some cases, we also are able to give you a little bit of a stretch, comfort and cushy room for deadline extensions as well because of the partner status. So by all means, yes, you can apply through us in the pool of partner universities. And we also counsel, obviously, students for non-partner universities too.
So with that, we come to the end. And thank you so much to everybody who took out the time to join in. Thank you. Thank you so much.